What is going on, Gig Nation? My name is Jonathan, and today we're going to be looking at the new DoorDash Rewards program. They are beta testing this in a few areas, and it looks like it could be a program that's actually really favorable to a lot of drivers. So in the past, I've been kind of pessimistic about a lot of stuff related to DoorDash, but lately they've been changing a lot. They changed their pay model, which I did think was a very positive move for DoorDash and potentially a positive move for Dashers. And now they have this rewards program, which on the surface level doesn't look like it's going to change a whole lot, but when you dive a little bit further into it, there's a couple changes in there that could be very favorable to Dashers that are a part of this program. So stay tuned for a while and I'll show you exactly what I mean. But let's first kind of look through the program overview, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what this is going to look like for Dashers. So first of all, what is it? Well, it's a rewards program for the best Dashers. I mean, that's very straightforward, kind of what you would expect. So how exactly does this program work? Well, essentially Dashers are required to meet the criteria by the end of the month. So that means that you're weighted in a couple of different categories, and if at 11:59 p.m. on the last day of a month you still meet all of that criteria, then for that next month you're going to be granted access to certain rewards and certain specialties in the program. So how do you qualify for this rewards program? Well, the first thing that you need is a customer rating of at least 4.7 stars or higher. And this is definitely a higher rating, but it's very achievable. And I mean, if you're doing a good job, if you're focusing on your customer service and doing enough deliveries to keep that average up, then you should be able to hit this. You know, obviously, occasionally you get a customer here or there that's really just unpredictable and you can't do much about the rating. But, like I said, if you're giving enough orders, taking enough deliveries, then you should be able to keep that average up. And the second thing that you need is a 95% completion rate. So essentially, if you accept an order, once you've accepted it, you shouldn't be canceling orders that often. You should go ahead and follow through and deliver these. And personally, that's not something that I ever practiced, that I ever did very often. I always kind of followed through on them, but just making sure that you're hitting that 95% mark. And so the second thing that you need is 100 completed deliveries, and that's total deliveries within the last 30 days. So if you look at the previous mark of a 95% completion rate, that means that if you had done 100 deliveries, that once you accepted them, you could only have canceled 5 of them once accepted, and that's actually a lot of cancellations. So something that I wouldn't expect a lot of people to do. But 100 deliveries in a month is definitely doable. That's a little over 3 deliveries a day, so nothing too crazy. Definitely something that you can hit, and it definitely is worth gunning towards. If you take a look at some of the rewards, they actually could be pretty favorable. So if you're dashing quite often and you're close to that 100 delivery mark, it definitely makes sense to shoot for it. So one quick thing that I want to clarify before we hop into exactly what the rewards are is how these different qualifications are accounted for. If they're all time, let's say before this rewards program came out, you had a really bad rating, you were down to like 4.3 stars. Are you going to have to get consistent 5 stars and work on that all-time average to get that all the way back up to 4.7 stars, or do you start from a fresh slate? Do you get to start over clean with that new rating every 30 days? And it appears that every 30 days you get to restart and kind of refresh, and that's kind of how Grubhub does it with their rewards program. So I expect it to be similar, and I think that DoorDash is having the same approach here. All right, so what exactly are the rewards? Now it's time to get into the good part, the stuff that we've all been looking forward to. What exactly do we get out of this? If we're trying really hard to meet all these qualifications, is it going to be worth our time? Should we even try and do this? Well, the first reward that you get is being able to sign on to the app anytime. So DoorDash kind of describes this as being able to sign on even when it's not busy. And you might read that and say, okay, I've been dashing for a while. If I've done 100 deliveries, I know this system. Why would I want to sign on at like 4 a.m. in the morning when it's gray on my map, when no one's even requesting orders? Why does this make sense for me? How is this even a perk? I mean, I'm not going to be getting a lot of orders, so why would I care about this? And here's why. So the DoorDash heat map factors in demand of orders, how many orders are coming in. And when it's red, it means there's high demand. When it's gray, it means there's low demand. But it's a little bit more complex than that. You see, the heat map is actually factoring in supply and demand. So if you've noticed, it might be a night, like a busy night of the week. It might be 5 p.m. and there might be a ton of promotions going on, like $1 peak pay or whatever it may be. But the area that you're in, which is normally really busy, is gray. And that's not because nobody is placing orders on DoorDash. That's because there's a ton of demand, but there's also a ton of supply of drivers meeting that demand. that means that a bunch of other drivers either scheduled blocks during that period or they've already signed on by hitting go online now. And essentially what that means is that while they are keeping busy out there, DoorDash doesn't need any more dashers on the road at that given time because there's enough supply to meet the demand. So in this new system, you would actually be able to go online without waiting during those times when it's pretty busy, but there's just a lot of other dashers out there. So it will be interesting to see, if there's during these times when it's obviously busy during like a dinner time and there's clearly a lot of demand out there, but also a lot of supply, if signing on, if using this perk is actually going to throw a lot of your orders your way. And in my opinion, I think it probably will. I think you definitely have a good chance of getting orders coming your way, especially if you know the system, if you know where to show up, where to be on the map, where the orders are most likely going to come in, then you can definitely work that towards your favor, having a little bit of an experience. And so there's actually a second rewards perk, and let's go into that real quick. And it looks kind of cool at first, but I'm very skeptical, and that's because DoorDash says that you get priority deliveries. And what they mean is that if there's an order that comes out and there's 2 dashers that are exactly the same distance away from it, then you're going to be prioritized and it's going to go towards you. And here's why I'm skeptical. I think that the event that DoorDash described right here is hardly ever going to take place. I mean, GPS is pretty accurate. Dashers are usually going to be measurable who's closer. So we'll have to wait and see how this plays out, because I don't think there's going to be a lot of instances when you're exactly the same distance or you have exactly the same metrics, favorability as another dasher out there. And I could be 100% wrong here. I don't actually know how this is really going to shake out. Maybe it's maybe the way that DoorDash's algorithm works, it's not actually that precise. And maybe if 2 dashers are both within a half a mile of the same place, then it considers those equal dashers. And if that's the case, then having prioritized orders is definitely a benefit here. So we'll really have to wait and see how this plays out. And this is also another thing that actually we've seen on Grubhub. If you've ever done deliveries with Grubhub, then you know that if you are prioritized and you get that prioritized ability to schedule blocks, essentially Grubhub will favor drivers that are on blocks. So if you've scheduled a block for let's say 6 p.m. on a Thursday night and you're in the app, then you're going to be getting significantly more orders coming your way than if you hadn't scheduled and you had just gone online. So within Grubhub's case, they actually seem to be prioritizing in a way that throws you a ton more orders if you're designated on that block as a prioritized driver. So we'll kind of see how this shakes out with DoorDash, if it actually gives you that many more orders and how this really works out for drivers. And another thing that I really like about this new rewards program is that it doesn't have anything to do with acceptance rate. So, I've been talking a lot about Grubhub and how they had a system in place that kind of rewards drivers. And Grubhub does require you to have that acceptance rate up. You have to have it, pretty high to be able to schedule those blocks above the partner level to get that prioritized block scheduling. And that makes it difficult. You have to make that decision. Do I want to cherry pick on Grubhub, or do I want to just take all the orders and then be able to schedule more blocks out? But with DoorDash, there's actually no acceptance rate so far. We haven't seen anything acceptance rate related as far as this rewards program. So essentially, you can still cherry pick. You can still pick just the best orders, the ones that you want, and be eligible for this program, which could be potentially really cool. It could actually allow the best dashers to really have a huge advantage here and still just be taking the best orders. And if so, that's a huge advantage for the DoorDash platform and something to really be excited about. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, this is still a beta testing program, so DoorDash really has a lot to learn here. They don't know how this is going to play out within their app, how it's going to work out for them, if it's going to continue to be a good system for them going forward. They're really just testing it in a bunch of markets, and I'm going to show right here all the different markets that it's going to be available in. They really have quite a long list, and you can go online and check that out yourself too if you want to see if it's going to be available in your market. But what this means is that DoorDash could change it at any time. They could decide to factor acceptance rate into this, which would really be a game changer. It would make it definitely less favorable, but it might still make sense with the acceptance rate. We really don't know how it would shake out, but it would change things up a lot. And so the base here, what you need to take away is that this isn't solidified. This isn't necessarily going to be the new rewards program. They just need to take some time to test it out. But in the meantime, it appears to be very advantageous. So if they are beta testing in your area, I would definitely recommend trying this out. If you have tested it out, go ahead and let me know. Leave a comment down below, because I love hearing from you, and I'd love to hear how it works in your market. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button, show me a little bit of love, and make sure that you subscribe to the channel for more gig economy updates.